The streets of Tulsa are burning again. Dwight thought he could build a new empire, but episode 5 proves one thing in his world: peace never lasts. When you play the king, everyone around you wants your crown. After the explosive events of last week, episode 5 begins with an unusual sense of calm. Dwight is seen sitting alone in his bar, the night quiet, the city lights flickering through the windows. It's one of those rare moments where he isn't giving orders or dodging bullets. You can almost feel the weight of everything he's done pressing down on him. His hands rest on the table, a half-empty glass beside him, not because he's celebrating, but because he's thinking. For Dwight, silence is dangerous. It's a reminder that somewhere out there, someone is plotting their next move. In this episode, we see a side of Dwight that's not often shown, the businessman, not just the gangster. He's trying to build something real in Tulsa, something that can last longer than the next shootout. He's talking to his crew about expansion, about new investments, about turning their shady money into something legitimate. There's a spark of ambition in his voice, but also a trace of doubt. He knows that every deal in Tulsa comes with a price. The men around him nod and agree, but the camera lingers on their faces. Not all of them are loyal. Some look away when Dwight isn't watching, their eyes cold, calculating. Meanwhile, Stacy, still recovering from the chaos of the last episode, is seen back at her desk. She's torn between doing what's right and protecting Dwight. There's guilt in her expression, and we can tell she's hiding something. A few phone calls hint that the FBI hasn't let go of the case. They're still watching, waiting for Dwight to slip up. The tension builds quietly, like the slow tightening of a rope. Then there's Chickie, still back in New York, but never out of the picture. His presence in this episode is distant but powerful. We see him talking to someone over the phone, his tone calm but threatening. It's clear that whatever peace Dwight has found in Tulsa won't last long, because Chickie's shadow stretches all the way across the country. His message is simple: no one leaves the family. This section of the episode sets the mood, a calm surface hiding deep cracks underneath. The writing makes it clear that everyone has their own plan, and no one is fully honest with Dwight. The pacing is slow, deliberate, giving us time to feel the tension grow. Every conversation feels like it could explode at any second. The show's genius lies in how it makes small moments feel dangerous. A glance, a pause, a sip of whiskey. And yet, amid the unease, Dwight shows glimpses of something human. When he steps outside the bar, the wind hits his face, and for a brief second, he looks tired, like a man who just wants a normal life. But deep down, both he and the audience know that's not possible. Tulsa has become his kingdom, but it's also his cage. And in this episode, that cage begins to close tighter than ever before. As the scene fades out, we see a car parked across the street, engine running, lights off. Someone's watching. Someone who doesn't belong there. The camera doesn't reveal their face, but we know trouble has already arrived. And Dwight just doesn't see it yet. The next morning, the city wakes up restless, like it knows something bad is about to happen. Dwight walks through the quiet streets, his shoulders straight but his eyes sharp, scanning every corner. He's dressed clean, but there's tension in the way he moves, a man prepared for whatever comes. The calm that began the episode fades fast when a black SUV pulls up near his club. The doors open, and two men step out. They aren't locals. Their suits are too sharp, their faces too blank. They move like people who have a purpose. And that purpose doesn't look friendly. Dwight greets them with his usual calm authority, but there's something about them that doesn't sit right. One of the men introduces himself as Tony DeLuca, a name Dwight hasn't heard in years. Tony used to run with the old crew in New York, back when loyalty meant something. But now Tony's smile hides a warning. He tells Dwight that Chickie's been asking questions about money, missing people, and who's really in charge of Tulsa. Dwight stays quiet for a second, his expression unreadable. Then he laughs, low and cold. Tell Chickie if he wants answers, he can come himself. The men don't laugh. They just nod, get back in the SUV, and drive off. The encounter leaves Dwight uneasy. He knows this isn't a friendly visit. This is a message Chickie hasn't forgotten, and he's getting closer. The camera follows Dwight as he walks back inside his bar. The atmosphere feels heavier now. The crew senses it too. Bodhi, always the calm one, starts asking if it's time to pack up or push harder. Dwight doesn't respond right away. He pours himself another drink and stares at the liquid for a moment before saying, "If we run now, we'll be running forever." The line hits hard. It's not just about the business. It's about Dwight's whole life. Every time he tries to leave the past behind, it finds him again. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Stacy meets with her contact in a quiet cafe. She's wearing sunglasses, but her body language gives her away. She's nervous. The contact slides her a folder of pictures, transcripts, maybe something from the FBI files. When she opens it, her face drains of color. Inside are surveillance photos of Dwight meeting with the two men from the SUV. She realizes what it means. The feds are still tracking him. And worse, they might be tracking her too. The contact warns her. They're tightening the net. One wrong move, and it's over. She tries to play it cool, but the fear in her eyes says it all. Back at the bar, Dwight gets a call from an unknown number. He hesitates, then answers. The voice on the other end is rough, familiar, someone from his past. "You think Tulsa's yours?" The voice growls. "You forgot who put you on that throne." The call ends before Dwight can respond. He stands there, frozen for a moment, then slowly lowers the phone. The sound of traffic outside fades, replaced by a faint ringing in his ears. He knows exactly who it was. Chickie doesn't need to threaten him directly. The voice alone is enough. Later that night, Dwight gathers his crew. He tells them things are about to change. Some of them look excited, others terrified. He says they want to bring the fight here. "Fine, we'll show them Tulsa doesn't scare easy." The men cheer, but the camera focuses on Dwight's face. He doesn't look proud. He looks haunted. This isn't the war he wanted, but it's one he can't avoid. The tension peaks when Dwight steps outside for air. The same car from before is parked across the street again. Only this time, it's closer. The driver's side window rolls down and a camera lens flashes for a second before disappearing. Someone's watching every move, recording everything. Dwight takes a deep breath, his jaw tight. He turns and walks back inside, but we know he's already planning his next step. As the night deepens, thunder rolls over Tulsa. The streets are wet, shining under the orange streetlights. A storm is coming, both in the sky and in Dwight's world. This episode's middle act is built like a fuse being lit, slow, steady, and unstoppable. Every moment feels like it could explode. By the end of this section, it's clear that peace was just an illusion. The war for Tulsa has begun again, and this time, Dwight's enemies aren't just on the streets. They're watching from every shadow. The storm breaks without warning. Rain hits the streets like glass. Thunder shakes the windows, and in that chaos, Tulsa begins to change. The episode shifts its tone. Gone is the quiet tension, replaced by raw violence and betrayal. Dwight's world starts falling apart, not with one big explosion, but with a series of small, sharp cracks that echo louder than any gunshot. The first blow comes from within. One of Dwight's closest men, Carlo, disappears overnight. No call, no message, nothing. Bodhi finds out early in the morning when he checks the ledgers and sees a large sum of money missing. At first, Dwight doesn't believe it. Carlo wouldn't do that, he mutters, pacing the floor, hands clenched. But then the truth hits. Loyalty doesn't mean much when fear takes over. Dwight sends the crew to look for him, but deep down, he already knows what's happened. Carlo didn't just steal. He switched sides. That's when everything starts spinning out of control. The Black Macadam gang, who had been quiet for weeks, suddenly reappear, not as Dwight's partners, but as Chickie's new allies. The betrayal cuts deep. The bar, once full of laughter and planning, now feels like a bunker. The crew argues about what to do next. Some want to leave town, others want revenge. Dwight stays silent until the shouting stops. Then he looks up, his voice calm but heavy. They want a war. Let's give them one they'll never forget. The next scenes unfold like a storm of tension. Cars screech through wet streets, men gather weapons, and old alliances turn to dust. The camera follows Dwight as he visits every corner of his empire, the bar, the storage unit, the front businesses, making sure everything is locked, loaded, and ready. It's not about winning anymore. It's about surviving. For Dwight, it's always been that way. Meanwhile, Stacy faces her own chaos. Her phone buzzes with encrypted messages she shouldn't be receiving. The FBI is closing in, and her double life is crumbling. Her guilt finally catches up with her. She tries to call Dwight to warn him, but he doesn't pick up. He's too deep in the fight to listen. The tension between them becomes another wound neither of them can heal. Then comes the turning point, the moment everything erupts. Late that night, as rain still falls over Tulsa, Dwight's bar gets hit. Windows shatter, bullets rip through the walls, and his men dive for cover. The attack is quick, brutal, and professional. Chickie's message is clear. You're not safe anywhere. Dwight moves with precision, old instincts kicking in. He pulls his crew together, fires back, and drives the attackers off. But not without loss. One of his men, a kid barely old enough to drink, doesn't make it. The silence that follows is colder than the storm outside. In that quiet aftermath, we see Dwight kneel beside the body, his face hard, but his eyes full of rage. For a moment, he says nothing. Then he stands up, blood on his hands, and mutters, "Enough." It's not shouted. It's whispered, but it carries the weight of war. From that point, the episode moves like a ticking clock. Every scene feels tighter, every decision sharper. Dwight makes a call, not to his crew, not to his friends, but to someone from his past. The same voice that once helped him build his empire, now being summoned again for one last job. The audience doesn't hear what's said, only sees the expression on Dwight's face, cold, focused, dangerous. The chaos spreads across Tulsa like fire. Rival crews start turning on each other. Cops patrol the streets, but even they know they're too late. The balance Dwight built is gone. Tulsa is no longer his playground. It's a battlefield. And as the camera pans over the skyline, thunder cracking in the distance, we know this isn't just another episode of gang politics. It's personal now. By the end of this section, the storm has passed, but nothing is the same. Dwight stands alone outside the ruined bar, watching smoke rise into the night sky. His empire is in pieces, his allies are few, and his enemies are closer than ever. Yet there's something fierce in his eyes, not defeat, but determination. He wipes the rain from his face, lights a cigarette, and looks straight ahead as if he's staring down fate itself. Tulsa has drawn its battle lines, and Dwight isn't backing down. The king has been cornered, but a cornered king is the most dangerous kind. The storm has passed, but the silence that follows is heavier than gunfire. The streets of Tulsa glisten with rain, the air thick with smoke, and the city itself seems to be holding its breath. Dwight stands in the ruins of his bar, the place that was supposed to be his fortress, now a shattered reminder of how fragile power really is. Broken glass covers the floor like frost. The neon sign that once glowed proudly flickers weakly in the dark. It's not just a building that's been destroyed. It's a symbol of everything Dwight tried to build: trust, control, and the illusion of peace. For a long moment, he doesn't move. He just stares at the wreckage, his reflection bending across the wet floor. Around him, his men gather what's left, cleaning up, bandaging wounds, dragging away debris. No one speaks. The sound of sirens in the distance feels far away, almost like another world. Dwight's empire has been burned to the ground, but he's not broken. Not yet. Then comes the quiet knock at the door. Everyone freezes. Bodie raises his gun, but Dwight gestures for him to stop. The door creaks open, and Stacy steps inside, soaked from the rain. Her face says everything: fear, regret, exhaustion. She walks closer, her eyes darting across the damage. "I tried to warn you," she whispers. "They're not just after you anymore." Dwight looks at her, his jaw tight, his silence louder than words. He knows what she means. This isn't just Chickie's war now. The FBI's closing into. She hands him a file, thick and damp from the rain. Inside are photos, transcripts, and names, all connected to him. Every move he's made, every deal, every secret. Someone's been feeding information to both sides. You've got a leak, Stacy says, her voice cracking. And it's someone close. Dwight doesn't flinch, but his eyes darken. Betrayal again. It's like a curse that follows him everywhere. He closes the file and looks out the broken window. Find out who, he says quietly. Before I do, as the night drags on, the story shifts into something deeper, not just about survival, but about legacy. Dwight starts visiting places from earlier episodes. The garage where he first met his crew, the diner where he made peace with old enemies. Every scene feels like a farewell tour, a king walking through the remains of his kingdom. He's thinking, calculating, planning. There's a new hardness in him now. The Dwight from season 1 wanted respect. The Dwight in this episode wants revenge. Meanwhile, in New York, Chickie gets the news about the failed hit. His expression is unreadable as he listens to his men explain what went wrong. Then he smiles, a slow, chilling smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Let him think he won, he says. We'll take him apart piece by piece. The camera lingers on his face as he looks at a photo of Dwight pinned to the wall. The game isn't over, it's only just begun. Back in Tulsa, Dwight receives a mysterious package. No return address, no name. Inside, wrapped in a piece of old newspaper, is a single chess piece, the king, broken in half. He stares at it for a moment, then smirks. Whoever sent it wanted to intimidate him. Instead, it lights a fire in his eyes. You don't break the king, he mutters. You wake him up. The final moments of the episode are pure tension. Dwight drives alone through the rain, his face lit by the glow of passing streetlights. He's heading somewhere, but we don't know where. The soundtrack slows down, almost silent, except for the hum of the engine. Then the phone rings. He answers without looking. A voice says, "It's time." Dwight nods once, his face cold and determined. Then let's finish it. The camera cuts to black. But before the credits roll, there's one last shot, a hidden camera feed showing Dwight's car driving away. The screen zooms out to reveal a dark room filled with monitors. Someone's been watching him the entire time. And sitting in the shadows, barely visible, is a figure with a cigarette, Chickie's right-hand man, Tony DeLuca. He smiles and says he still doesn't get it. The game was never about Tulsa. Fade to black. The credits roll, leaving the audience in stunned silence. Everything Dwight built has been destroyed. His enemies are closing in. And yet, the fire in his eyes says one thing: the king of Tulsa isn't done. He's just getting started.